you dey. If you know they listen to Aloore radio, you are wrong. You are not doing well. If you dey listen to Aloore radio, you are doing very well, very, very well. In case you are listening to me for the first time, I'm Pastor Chinko, comedian, the senior man in the industry, the biggest comedian all the way from China. Now, Corona sees me for Nigeria. You understand the Pidgin, you understand Yoruba. In case you are listening to me in Nausa, I get me, Sunana Pastor Chinko. In case you be Igbo person and you dey listen to me, Afambo Pastor Chinko. Igbo people, you go kwenu. You shout ye there. All of now, when you say you don't know response, you go shout ye. Now hey, Afambo Pastor Chinko. As I said earlier, in case you speak Yoruba so well, Omo Badekini so. So ni kila jalana. Ìwọ tó jẹ panla ló sọ pé ẹran síkì. Kila ni jókòó, kúṣí sí àná lẹ́sọ̀ pẹ̀lú plastic tẹ̀lé fi jókòó yẹn. Ẹlòmí àgbóyún ló fi jókòó yóò sọ pé kúṣí sí à. Anyway, all joy. But if you speak Chinese so well and you want to pronounce my name, you don't write it on paper. You record it on your radio, on your phone, or enemies. You call it this way. Say la la Chinese logo, it means Pastor Chinko. Now my name, maybe your name, Igara saying, and Aloore radio. Keep listening to them. Aye adalati de, ogbade.
There you are. Welcome once again to Aloore Radio, where we transmit from the GSM studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. I welcome you to this morning edition of Newspaper Review. I am Temitope Ojoawo. I have Nigerian Tribune with me this morning to review with. So I've first gone into the headline before going to the details of the newspaper. But before I do that, let me quickly remind you that you can link us up on our Facebook page at www.facebook.aloore.com. Also reach us on YouTube at Aloore Radio. Our website is www.alooreradio.com. Our mobile app still available on Play Store. You can reach us on our mobile line at 090-39853731. Now on our newspaper review for today, the very, very attractive story at the front page of Nigerian Tribune this morning says, manufacturers list 10 ways to revive, stabilize economy on page 6 of Nigerian Tribune. On Okada, Lagosians want total ban as government announces 86% reduction in crime. Sanvera governor signs death penalty for kidnapping. Cattle rustling courtism on page 30 of Nigerian Tribune this morning, with a rider that says bans motorcycles from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Also at the front page of Nigerian Tribune this morning, Nigeria to save 2 trillion naira by 2030 from malaria elimination. Buhari on page 8 of Nigerian Tribune. Nasarawa Information Commissioner kidnapped. Get that story on page 26 of today's edition of our Nigerian Tribune. Also, IBB charges Nigerians on patient prayers as it marks 81st birthday on page 30. And also, article comes to reject Port Harcourt as venue for reconciliation, with a rider that says parties to meet next week. Obi, Autumn, Duke, others in talk with Wike in Rivers. On page 31, Naimet raises alarm over flood threat in Borno. Bayelsa, Delta Free, all the states says 12 states to experience above normal rainfall between August and October. Find that story on page 22. And on page 27 this morning is a story that says 4 teenagers celebrating WASC success drawn at Elegushi Beach, Lagos State. And finally, at the front page of this paper is a constitutional amendment. Osun Assembly offers financial independence of state legislature judiciary. The story is right there on page 31 of Nigerian Tribune. And with that headline, I will quickly observe a short break. Please stay tuned and enjoy how small. I thank you.
omi tuntun ti ru ẹja tuntun wà ní odò ẹdún máa gbá.
kí ló dé tóun tó dáa kì í kún ẹlẹ́gàn lójú. ìjọba ẹnjìnìà Ṣèyí Mákindé ọ̀fẹ́ràn ṣe kárí mi ni. ṣùgbọ́n bọ́lọ̀ ń bá rí ọ nítorí àfẹnuyọ sùsìsì tí ń dùn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. yéèyàn náà rí ọ ọ̀pọ̀ àṣeyọrí lórí ìdàgbàsókè níjọba àpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ti ṣe. ẹ̀já sọ díẹ̀ mbẹ́. ó pèsè ọkọ̀ lárìnká sọ̀fin tó tó agbègbè iṣẹ́ ibi kárí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. àfikún àtìròyìn lágbára fáwọn operation board. dáyẹ́tẹ̀ ìwéré ilé àtàgọ́ rẹ̀ ó fi kún agbára ẹ̀rọ ayélujára bí òwìwí. gbàwòrán àṣẹlẹ̀ pàjáwìrì sílẹ̀ ńbàdàn commissioning of mobile squadron unit lágbára rẹ̀ ó dáwọ́lé múgbòòrò ètò ọrọ̀ ajé nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ nípasẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ farm of estate lákùfò èrúwà àti láwẹ́ pípín ohun ọ̀gbìn fẹ́gbẹ̀rún mẹ́wàá àgbẹ̀ asphalt and equipment níjàyè fífọwọ́síwèé mímú ní nǹkan mi sí ọ̀fọ̀ lóṣù péréte ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ mílíọ̀nù fún dènà covid-19 àbítọ̀nà ọ̀dájú road lautech fẹ́kùn inspection center ìdíàpẹ́ ọ̀nà mọ́níyà ìjàyè sísẹ́yìn àtàwọn agbègbè dágbègbè níbàdàn ó gbówó oṣù ọdún mẹ́rin kalẹ̀ fún ìṣẹ́fẹ̀yìntì àwọn olùkọ́ gbogbo ọ̀ọ́dúnrún òṣìṣẹ́ dádúró lọ́nà àìtọ́ ló pẹ́ padà tó sì ń sanwó wọn déédéé abẹ́ gbáriwo ó káṣọ ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́ta owó tóbi ń san ẹ̀kọ́ dọ̀fẹ́ ó kún ìwé ó tún kíláàsì ṣe ó fa látẹ̀kì padà di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àtúnṣe pẹ̀lú ohun èlò fún ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé lọ́pọ̀ bíi mélòó láwà ká tábọ́ ara ẹni tí ń pẹ̀gàn ìjọba Ṣèyí Mákindé má pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ̀jẹ̀kọ ohun gbogbo tí ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ ní ẹjá jọ wò.
Ọ̀yọ́ State Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism.
Thanks so much for staying tuned. My list story this morning is on page 6 of Nigerian Tribune. Man lists 10 ways to revive, stabilize Nigeria's economy. The Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, MAN, has lamented that more manufacturing companies are on the verge of collapse, calling on the federal government to implement measures to save the manufacturing sector and correct the lackluster performance of the nation's economics alike. President's Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, MAN, Maizor Ahmed, who served this at the 39th Annual General Meeting of MAN held in Ibadan, noted that in recent times, the manufacturing sector was suffering challenges that include high cost of diesel and other petroleum products, acute shortage, high cost of forex, insecurity, high cost of raw materials, inconsistent government policies, high regulatory compliance costs, gridlock and inadequate infrastructure at the port. Among other corrective measures, Ahmed said it was important for the government to prioritize the allocation of forex to the manufacturing sector and mandate the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN to direct commercial banks to transparently process forex applications by manufacturers. You can read him on page 6 of Nigerian Tribune. And still on the same page, TCN appeals to union to suspend planned strike. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has appealed to the electricity workers to suspend their proposed strike bill to begin today. The Managing Director, TCN, Dr. Sule Abdulaziz, made the appeal in a letter to the workers on Tuesday following the threat of the workers to embark on strike to drive home their demands. The News Agency of Nigeria reports that the workers under the aegis of the National Union of Electricity Employees had on Monday directed its members to pick a TCN office nationwide on Tuesday, after which they will embark on strike on Wednesday. The General Secretary, Mr. Ajayiru, had in a statement said the picketing was to protest the directive by the TCN board that all principal managers in acting capacity going to acting general manager must appear for a promotion interview. That was on page 6 of Nigerian Tribune. You can read further quickly on page 7, Nigerian security agencies need attitudinal change to tackle insurgency. Dan Bezo. Two serving governors and former Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Abdulrahman Dambezo retired on Tuesday expressed concern over the security situation in the country ahead of the next general election. The occasion was the 11th edition of Blueprint Newspaper Annual Public Lecture, an impact series held at the International Conference Center in Abuja. The former Army Chief, in his paper 2023 Political National Security and Nigerian Stability, called for security reforms to achieve the desired results in tackling the spate of terrorism. He noted that the needed security reforms must be physically centered on security government driven by emergency response, planning an effective integrated system that can curb activities of bandits and insurgents in the country. Read further on page 8 of Nigerian Tribune. Nigerians to save 2 trillion naira by 2030 from malaria elimination. Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated Nigeria Malaria Council (HIMC) with an assurance that the successful implementation of its agenda and saving from the estimated economic burden of the disease will save Nigeria about 687 billion naira in year 2022 and 2 trillion naira by 2030. The 16-member council is headed by the president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. During the ceremony at the State House Conference Center in Abuja, the president told the council that beyond improving the quality of life, health and well-being of Nigerians, the concerted strategy to tackle malaria has both public health as well as socio-economic benefits for Nigeria. You can read further on page 8 of Nigerian Tribune. And quickly before I leave that page, Aloore says siding off part of Ogun, Aheri community claims. The people of Mamporure community of Aheri land in Nigeria, local government area of Ondo State, afforded the claim by the Onirokun of Irokun or Babusariola Balogun that Aloore side is part of Ogun Waterside local government and North Ondo State. The Onirokun had raised the alarm on Monday, saying that the Aloore coast, which is being proposed as a zone by the Ondo State government, is part of Ogun Waterside local government and comes under Ogun State, not under Ondo State. Countering the claims of Balogun, however, the people are hearing land in a letter to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State through their solicitors, royal practice legal practitioner and consultant signed by Ige and Shemudera, described the claim as not only false but unfounded. And on page 13 of Nigerian Tribune, land grabbing, Abuja Market Union battle FCTA. The Kobo International Market in Abuja has written to the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, to stop Abuja Investment Company Limited from embarking on any enforcement over land grabbing within the vicinity of the market. President of the United Kobo Market Traders Association of Building Materials, comprising timbers, furnitures, Mechanic and Cement, Prince Emeka Egueke, told newsmen in Abuja that a court of competent jurisdiction had already ruled in their favor. Egueke said the market union also has all the necessary papers already approved by the FCT administration. Read more on page 13 of Nigerian Tribune. And now on the same page, how we save 5 billion naira proceeds from fire disaster, FFC boss. The Controller General of the Federal Fire Service FFS, Abdul Ghani Ojaje, has disclosed that the service has quenched no fewer than 590 fire outbreaks across country and saved properties worth 56.992 billion naira within 4 months of his assumption of office. Jaji, who made this known in Abuja, also disclosed that from April 28 to year 2022, that it took over the saddles to date, the service had lost 23 personnel to fire break and rescued 38 persons in distress due to fire-related emergencies. He further revealed that about 177 lives were saved from various scenes of infernos, while disclosing also that the country lost over 11.62 billion naira to fire from different parts of the country within the period under review. Still on page 13, federal government urges states to ensure openness in governance. The federal government has tasked the 36 states of the Federation and Federal Capital Territory (FCT) to improve accountability and transparency by ensuring openness in governance. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, gave the charge during the second quarter meeting of the Forum Secretaries to State Governments held in El Salvador State. He noted that the Forum, which holds quarterly, strive at building the required synergy between the federal government and state bureaucracy in order to improve relationship between the tiers of government. The forum also provides an atmosphere for critical discussion on policy articulation, experience sharing, peer review, and adaptation. You can read more on page 13 of Nigerian Tribune. And on page 20, Reps Committee probes Agric Ministry over award of 18.9 billion naira contract for clearing bushes holders. The Public Accounts Committee of the House of Representatives (PEROC) is currently probing the award of contract value 18.9 billion naira by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for clearing of bushes, land preparation, rehabilitation of soil, plant laboratories, and all that during the lockdown of the country as a result of COVID-19. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Wale Oke, disclosed this on Tuesday in Abuja the resumed investigative hearing of the committee on queries to the ministry, department, and agencies of the federal government by the office of the Auditor General of the Federation. Oke assured that the committee will carry out a diligent investigation into the matter as it is interested in finding out the location of projects and the significance of such projects to the country. He said that consequently the committee had summoned the ministry and the companies involved to appear before the House for proper investigation. Get the more of the gist on page 20 of Nigerian Tribune. And on page 22, 9 meteorologists alarm over high-level flood threats in Borno, Bayelsa, Delta, Kaduna, and all the states. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has raised alarm over threats of high-level flood in 6 states across the country. Speaking in Abuja on Thursday, the Director General of NIMET, Professor Manzo Bako Mutels, said, and I quote, "We are present in every part of Nigeria and we receive weather conditions per minute across the country." He further said that we ran an SPI analysis which will determine the soil moisture because the soil moisture condition is a factor that influences the dryness or wetness of the soil. He explained further that over dryness of the soil could lead to drought, while over wetness of the soil could lead to flooding. Analysis we carried out in the last 48 hours shows probable flood areas across the country. End of quote. And you can read it further on page 22 of Nigerian Tribune. 9 meteorologists alarm over high level of flood threats in Borno, Bayelsa, Delta, Kaduna, and all this. Still on the same page, Ogun adjudged a best in COVID-19 vaccination routine immunization in Southwest. Ogun State has been awarded the best performing state in Southwest Nigeria in the routine immunization and COVID-19 vaccination by the federal government through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. The Executive Director of NPHCDA, Dr. Faisal Suhab, in a letter addressed to Governor Dakpa Abiodun, dated August 15, 2022, acknowledged in his administration commitment and support towards improving the performance of routine immunizations and other PA service in Ogun State and Nigeria in general. Read further on page 22 of Nigeria Tribune. And on page 26, government kidnapped Nasarawa Information Commissioner. The Nasarawa State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Dr. Yakub Lawa, was on Monday night abducted from his home in Nasarawa Egotan in Nasarawa Egan local government area of the state. The incident, which occurred at about 8:45 p.m., came 2 days after suspected armed robbers attacked government secondary school in the same town and killed a teacher. The abductor was said to have stormed the area, shot into here to scare residents before they headed for the commissioner's residence. The police public relations officer PPRO in the command, DSP Rahman Nanzo, who confirmed the incident to newsmen on Tuesday, said officers and men of the command who were on patrol near the area rushed to the scene when they heard the gunshots. He said by the time the patrol team got to the scene, the gunmen had escaped with the victims. Read more about that story on page 26 of Nigerian Tribune. And still on the same page on security, government killed motorcyclist in Imo Market as IGP visited the state. Government on Tuesday killed a commercial motorcyclist at Ogboko Market in Mebotso local government area of Imo State. The incident occurred when the Inspector General of Police IGP Usman Al-Khali Baba was in the state to inaugurate the armed personnel carriers donated to the State Police Command by the state government. It was gathered that the government arrived the Ogbaoku Daily Market in a Zena bus to search for their target, described as a motorcyclist. You can read more on page 26. Still on that same page, police rescue 4 of 6 abducted victims in Kwara. 5 gunmen on Monday night abducted 6 persons on Oboile Ozu Road in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. However, the State Police Public Relations Officer PPRO Kisomi Ajayi, who confirmed developments, said operators of the command had rescued 4 out of the 6 victims. Read more on page 26. And quickly on page 27, police Amotekun arrest 35 northerners with unregistered trucks, 19 motorcycles in Osun. 35 northerners were on Monday arrested in Oshogbo and Ile-Ife, Osun State after they have demoted mass into the cities in trucks. The State Police Command intercepted 14 of the travelers who, after interrogation, could not give tangible reasons for their coming into the state, just as impounded 12 motorcycles found in their possession. Also in Ile-Ife on the same day, 21 northerners were intercepted with the 7 motorcycles in a truck by operators of the Southwest Security Outfit, Amotekun Corps. The commander of Amotekun Corps in the state, Comrade Amit Solushitu, said 21 of them northerners were arrested at Ajebandele area of Ile-Ife at about 9:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Monday, while 7 motorcycles in their possession were confiscated. Read more on page 27 of Nigerian Tribune. And still on the same page, my electrocuted while trying to steal transformer cable in Osun, and also 4 shots in failed robbery attempts in Udo. On the same page is another story, troops to neutralize terrorist kingpin in 3 geopolitical zone, NAF chief. And finally on that page, 4 teenagers celebrating work success drawn at Elegushi Beach in Lagos State. Quickly on that story, the management of the Elegushi Beach in Lagos has described as unfortunate the drowning incident that occurred at a section of the beach early on Tuesday, which claimed the lives of 4 teenagers. According to the news agency of Nigeria 9, Chief Ayuba Elegushi, on behalf of the beach management, stated this in a statement made available to the newsmen. Elegushi explained that the incident occurred at an uncommon section of the beach area which was not open to the public. According to him, about 10 teenage boys visited the beach on Tuesday morning to celebrate the success of their West African Senior School Certificate examination. He said while the beach authority and security team turned them back, the boys took a detour and went to an unmanned section of the beach area to swim. He noted that unfortunately, about 10 of them were almost drowning before the beach security were alerted to the scene, and 6 of them were rescued alive, while 4 were still missing of the press time. Read more on page 27 of Nigerian Tribune. And with that story, I will round up today's edition of the newspaper review on Aloore Radio, where we transmit to you at the GSM studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. Till tomorrow, where we have another team, another newspaper review for you. I'm Temitokbe Ojawo. I greet you and I say enjoy your day. Bye for now.
iyì ọmọlúàbí ni kó ṣèlérí kó sì mú lérí rẹ̀ ṣẹ. ṣé lásìkò polongo òdìbò ni gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ti sọ pé ìṣèjọba òun kò ní ṣàdédé lé ẹnikẹ́ni níbi tí wọ́n ti ń jẹ tí wọ́n ti ń mu láì ṣe pé òun pèsè ibòmíì fún wọn. láti má déhùn yìí ṣẹ, ìgbìmọ̀ amúṣẹ́yá ti ń rí sí ìtọ́jú àwọn oníbàárà nílùú Ìbàdàn tí kó gbogbo àwọn oníbàárà tó wà ní Sábó lọ sí agbègbè kan ní Akínyẹlé, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n sì ṣe káàkiri gbogbo ìlú Ìbàdàn. ètò ààbò ẹ̀mí òun ìgbé ayé ìrọ̀rùn níjọba ti pèsè fún àwọn oníbàárà yìí níbẹ̀. èyí ni ó wá gbòdẹ́kun fáwọn amòòkùnṣìkà tí wọ́n ń ṣe bí oníbàárà láti ṣiṣẹ́ ẹbí wọn. ìjọba wa ń rọ gbogbo ẹ̀yin onínúdúndùn ọlọ́rẹ tí mọ́ ń tọ́jú àwọn oníbàárà yìí pé kẹ́ ẹ máa lọ bá wọn l'Ákínyẹlé láti ṣèṣe ọ̀rẹ́ yín. ààbò tó péye ti wà fún ẹ̀yin àtàwọn tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ ta lọ́rẹ níbẹ̀. ìgbìmọ̀ amúṣẹ́yá tó ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn oníbàárà nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.